Good evening, and welcome back. Sorry, Spike's just literally moved the fan. It is absolutely baking in here. Not the heat that's been taken off. That second half, Wimbledon losing 2-0 to Gillingham. I suppose a return leg. It's not really a return leg, but we've seen each other quite a long way. Late goals knock us out of the Carabao Cup. Mike Commander on, who was a late sub for. Actually, Shane Alexander got here as assistant. That's interesting. And then a late, to be fair, the game was over and Jordan Green scored the second. So that's it. Welcome back, Rob.
I know. I still haven't seen
welcome back.
Still haven't seen a competitive win this year, so maybe I should not come on Saturday.
What do you think, George? Uneventful first half, wasn't it? Wasn't really much going on, but it livened up in the second half.
Yeah, and you get your bingo cards out because some very questionable refereeing decisions in the second half made it spark to life more than perhaps a League Cup game should at this stage of the season and this stage of the competition. Started seeing a few more chances, a lot of late challenges, a couple of stamps, all of these sort of things. And
I don't know about stamps, George.
I think it's fair. I think the 3,008 people who were here today saw a stamp. I think there was maybe one or two people in the ground that didn't.
So let's get to that incident then. So Ben Reeves just come on, a foul on Asal, and then he went fishing for the ball after the whistle. Hey, look, we don't want to talk about referees, but it was a very challenging second half, wasn't it, Rob?
Yeah, the second half really swung into life. It was really feisty. I am actually going to disagree. I don't think it was a stamp. I think that obviously it was a foul on Asal, and then Ben Reeves has just kicked the ball when he's sitting on it quite hard. He's not stamped on Asal for me, but it was late.
And the whistle gone though?
The whistle had gone, and I think that's what really antagonised the fans and felt like it should have been sent off because it was quite deliberate for me. I don't think he's stamped on Asal. He's clearly just booted the ball whilst Asal is stuck underneath him, and he kind of meant it. I think they tried to wind up Asal because he was in the other cards, and sometimes Asal has that little bit of a reputation where he's got a bit of feistiness in him, and probably were trying to fish for the red card for Asal in that occasion. See if he retaliated. I do think it was a red card, however, and that really brought the game into life. And then afterwards, both teams were trying to get other players booked, and
all of a sudden it just turned into a proper cup tie. From really, if we're honest, first half we could. Well, I went and got something to eat from the lovely My Pie.
They're not going to sponsor us, Stu. We've got Freddie now.
I know.
Thank you, Freddie.
It felt in a way like it didn't really get into life, and it did then, didn't it? From then, George, we made a few subs. Davison come on. We started looking a bit lively, didn't we? And to be fair, Davison, you could probably argue, had the best chance of the evening.
Yeah, Davison had a good chance. I mean, it was on his left, so it was a difficult chance still for him to take, but one perhaps he should have been doing better with. But chances few and far between, especially in that first half. We had a couple as the game sort of developed, and once it came into life, it opened up a bit more. But difficult because Gillingham were... they utilised their gamesmanship and their experience. They were making tactical fouls at, a lot of opportunities. Didn't let Ayew build up any momentum. But it's a feisty game, and when you don't see... Because the first half felt like a friendly. The second half felt like a cup final or a survival game, where it was really just way too much aggression in it for this stage.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? So I know we lost 2-0, and to be fair, well done doing they scored the goals, we didn't. But I have to say, I felt we had a good...
Yeah.
I felt if it was going to be one winner, it was going to be us.
Yeah,
in the end, we got done, didn't we, by not really taking out. All the cynical fouls we could have done, we didn't really do it.
Yeah, I felt like in that stage of the game, we kind of missed Alex Pearce and Lee Brown. You were thinking to myself, someone just take this player out, and then we showed him inside, let him have the shot, and he's picked out the bottom corner. It's a great finish, to be fair to the lad, and it's frustrating because up until the 89th minute, the stats were all one way. It's the most one-sided 0-0. That second half in particular, I've seen. It was just a moment of like I was just waiting for the net to bulge. There was a shot from Asal which went to the back post, or a cross come shot, which I thought Curry was going to get on the end of. There's the one which Curry then did get on the end of, which was deja vu. There's deja vu of the one he scored against them in the opening game, and then Davison goes through on goal, and you just get your head over it, hit it low and hard, and he blazed over the bar, and it was just a bit frustrating because we just didn't take our chances and got punished in the end.
Sorry, Stu. I just want to say one thing that built up to their first goal, because I mean, the second goal was almost irrelevant because we were just dead hedge drops, and they just walked us through for the second. But the first goal, Magoma made what should have been a good tactical foul to try and break up that attack and break up the momentum. And the referee didn't give anything. He didn't give an advantage or anything. And that was the phase before the goal. So it's just one of those things that it's frustrating. And you've got to give credit to Gills. They came in with a game plan. They executed it well. They had one real chance today. They took it. So fair play to them.
I felt, if anyone was slowing down the clock or really, in all fairness, seeing out penalties, it felt like Gillingham were doing.
Apart from our South stand, they were
having
having a good. The South stand was having a good laugh tonight.
It felt like Christmas come early, didn't it? It felt like it's behind you. So for those who have not the benefit of being here, we got the ump because the steward wouldn't give our ball back. Yeah. But that sort of summed up the evening, wasn't it? It was really, there was not, even though the game was getting a little bit tasty, there just wasn't any goals. We got the late goals. So sub-wise, we ended up with David Fisher playing right wing back.
Dav came on. We were all talking about. We saw him coming on, and we thinking, maybe this will be for Ayub. He's on a yellow. And then we saw Isaac Ugandere come off, and we thought, okay, maybe a shape change, because we had talked in the pre-match about whether the flat back four is in our Arsenal this year. And David, who's an out-and-out striker and a 9, came on as right wing back. So that's a little bit of it caught us off guard. But as I say, David had a good game at wing back.
Well, it's only for a little while, but while he was on, he was on. And he's got a massive long throw, which we never.
Which I don't think anyone on the pitch knew about, considering it went over absolutely everyone.
Maybe it was a fluke. What we got, some comments in here. So Andy Pap Hayes, we have no goal scorer staring us in the face. It's an interesting observation. I think, Rob, if you look at it, I think we are probably the result of getting some players in late, not early pre-season. If you look at the combinations, we had Nathan Young-Coombs and the giant Hudlin. And it's difficult, and this is not defending them. I just felt there was no chemistry between them, because ultimately they probably haven't had that many games. It felt that way, didn't it?
No, they haven't played together, and they also, by the hour mark when they both got subbed, they just both looked spent. Like they looked like they had nothing left in the tank. So I think they will just get better with time, and a few games. I do think there is goals in this team. I look at Chisler, I look at NYC. Hudlin is a threat.
We can't call him NYC. Because it just feels like New York City, and Alicia Keys is in my head of like that.
So shall we call him Alicia Keys instead, or
call him young Lyle Taylor? Because he had his hair cut today, didn't he? I noticed that, George. Maybe can pass on some tips to you with maybe shortening the hair.
Yeah, I don't know his haircuts normally. I try and ignore them.
I also think Davison, once he gets off the mark, I think he will get a run of goals. I mean, he scored 9 in 20 or 1 in 2 basically over at Swindon in this league. And he does look a threat. He looks a handful. He runs the channels. He holds the ball up. I think once he gets off the mark, I have faith that he might go on over scoring.
And the question that Andy was saying about we haven't really got goals scored. I think if you look at when AL and Davison played together, you can tell they played. You can tell straight away they looked more of a So I wouldn't disagree with what you're saying on that. I think we do have goal scorers. I just don't think we. At the moment, pairings are very difficult. And we said before, didn't we, that, hey, look, we're out of the cup now, but I won't say I'm overly disappointed. And before you have a go at me, I'm actually thinking that's actually good if we're going to look at a promotion chart. Yeah. If we don't need too many games.
Yeah.
So that's me,
I'm not,
George?
Yeah, I think, you're right. It saves us a couple of games, which we don't need, especially because it is going to be a smaller squad, with 9 subs, using 5 subs this year. You can't have any injuries. So the fewer games you can play, the better. And the League Cup, it's one we historically don't do well in, and it's one that the prize money isn't great in, so it's not the end of the world getting knocked out of it. I do think, to going back to Ant's post about forwards, I think we find Davison he's a very streaky forward. He goes on a run, he'll score a load of goals, then he'll go on a run.
Who's that,
sorry? Davison. He's a type of player who's going to, go on a run, score 5 or 6 games on the bounce, and not score for a few, then score in a few. So, once he finds that streak of form, he'll come good again. Him and I linked up well. Nathan Young-Coombs looked good in spells tonight. He had one good peel around from the cross came in, which he forced a good save from their keeper in the first half. I think we've got enough goals about us, but again, it mustn't forget, it's been a very, very, very short pre-season for our standards. And it's just getting the players time and linking up.
I also can't see us bringing in another forward in this window. I mean, we've got 4 good options, and then we still had Bartley and Fisher who came off the bench as a 5th and 6th choice.
And we had Cosgrave who didn't even come on.
I know Ant says we don't have a goal scorer, but sometimes we have been spoilt with goal scorers in terms of, we've had Piggott who gets us 20 goals, Lyle Taylor who gets us 20 goals, but we're not going to go out in the window at this stage and go get a 20-goal striker with the options we have, with the 4 options on the table, and it's very hard to find them strikers with our budget in League Two. I think the goals are going to have to be spread amongst the 4 or 5 strikers we have.
Yeah, sorry, I think those strikers that you find, those 20-goal strikers we've had in the past, Lyles and Piggott's, they didn't come in as 20-goal strikers. They came in as players who had failed at other clubs. Pickett, who had a slight resurgence in non-league and then came in. And, these are players who were very, very rough diamonds, and they took time to come good. I know Pig and Lyle started well, but then they took a really long time to really come good and find their own feet. Lyle took, about 6-7 months. So I think it's something that's going to take time in Nathan and Ayoub and Davison to come good, but I do think they'll come good this year. I think we've got enough goals in us. And, defensively, we look good for 88 minutes.
So, I don't want to talk about him too much, but I have to say, Jack Curry put in another impressive performance. Rob, obviously you've been sunning yourself out in Ibiza. What did you? What did you think of it?
I was in Greece, but
same
thing. Close enough, yeah.
You
know what? I was really, really impressed. You know what it felt like to me? It felt like we had some sort of cheat code at left back. Have you ever played FIFA before, where you play Ultimate Team?
FIFA, yes.
Well, there's this new game mode called Ultimate Team, and you get like a starter team, which are all bronze.
Yeah.
But you can like loan a legend player. And it feels like we've like loaned Roberto Carlos at left back. Like he just looks really good in this team. Like he's a really standout player, and he impressed me because I was watching the game in Greece, the first game, where he got man of the match, the goal, and like seeing him live, like he impressed me in pre-season, and I just hope he stays fit and continues his form. But I also do hope we can bring in a wing back just to kind of give him that break, because I don't think playing him 90 minutes week in, week out.
He ain't playing 50 games a season.
No, that's my only concern.
And this is where we were.
It's a big ask for him, isn't it?
And this is where we were, the subs, wasn't it? Because I know we spoke about the subs, but we think back to last season, we arguably got caught in a situation where we had too many players who hadn't had rest. We had Jack Rodoni and Sal, and we couldn't give them rest. Well, actually, today we could. So I think it's really important how we use our squad, because to me, it's panning out what it did last season. I thought if you look at the style of football, really impressive football on that side of it. We have to go back, and it's not a referee decision, but what was going on with that disallowed goal? Probably around about 75 minutes. Referee didn't have a clue, the linesman didn't have a clue, they both conferred, and then in the end they decided it's a home game, we're just allowed a goal.
Well, I didn't know what was going on, so I had a look on Twitter, and it said there was a foul on Broom in the build-up, which I thought it was given as offside.
I thought
I thought it was offside, and apparently on Twitter it's a foul on the build-up, but I didn't see anything. I thought it was a goal.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's tough to get from where we were to get a view of that, and decide one way or the other, but none of their players celebrated immediately after.
They looked a bit sheepish, didn't they?
They all looked around looking at the ref and the lino, so that's normally a good indication of if there's been a foul or not. It's a bit like a player walking towards the tunnel after he's made a foul.
Yeah. Well, it's going to our last 5 minutes. It's getting late, and I can need a lawnmower going outside. Billy, they're so good they named you twice, Billy. Billy, different keeper, and Pierce missing tonight. How much of a difference did that make? Personally, I thought Nathan Broom was good, what he done, distribution, ball. We're saying now we're goalkeepers, aren't we? They're actually not judged just of what they do with their hands, they're not what they do with their feet.
Especially with the way JJ wants to play. You can tell that he wants to use...
He looked decent on his feet tonight,
yeah, you can tell with JJ's teams he wants to have that keeper as an additional ball playing centre-back almost. I think Broom done well, and I think it was the right thing to play him tonight.
Yeah.
He's got to get that experience somewhere, and the League Cup and the Papa John's Trophy is the best chance for him, and you never know when we're going to need to call upon him on the season, so it's good for him to get that match experience. He had one wobbly moment in the first half where he misjudged the ball coming in, and
the ball was really early, wasn't it?
He thought it was coming into the area, and it kind of slowed down, but he recovered from it, and after that he didn't let it affect him at all.
Joe, there was one bit in the first half where he come out and he headed the ball off for a throw-in. And Gunter just looked at him and was like, "What are you doing?" Like you could just tell, you could just tell by his face, going, "Why are you here?" But then that's the exuberance. He wants to make an impression.
And it's debut as well. Everyone's going to make mistakes and be a bit overexcited in the early stages of debut.
Centre half, George. We said, haven't we, before that we feel we've got quite a lot of centre halves. I thought it was. I didn't think we. Hey, look, Pierce is a leader and stuff like that. Of course, you're going to miss a player like that. But actually, when you look at it, we've got to play in the left centre half, with revelation by yourself, Will Nightingale and Paul Cannon-Bailey. I felt we do everything in the air. We've lost 2-0, but I don't think 2-0 is a reflection on anything on that side. How did you think they done?
I thought we did well defensively. I thought we looked solid. Piqué had a couple of shaky moments, but
you mean?
Yeah, but I think that's something you'd expect for somebody who hasn't played much this season at this stage. And he grew into the game and got better and better as it went on. I thought defensively, again, we looked solid defensively for 89 minutes and didn't look like conceding for that spell until we fell asleep almost for their first. And then the game was gone by 4.
We were trying to work out the penalty takers, weren't we? Let's be fair. It felt like it was going to penalty shootout, didn't we?
That's why I thought Fisher might have come on as well.
Yeah.
Right wing back, I thought maybe we were planning on having the penalty kicks. I think any team's going to miss Pearce with his experience, but he didn't play a lot of games for Millwall last season with his age, and I feel like there was a bit of a hint in the pre-match with Terry that he might have picked up something minor. So it makes sense to rest and rotate this. I fully expected it to be rotated.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, rotate this team. Saturday, Tuesday fixtures, are a bit much for.
Yeah.
And one thing which I was impressed with tonight, Gunter at centre back, it made me kind of realise. For me, I feel like we need to sign a right wing back because I thought he was class in the back three for me.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think that's his better position or preferred position at this age or this stage of his career.
Yeah. Pearce, I think, did pick up a knock towards the end at Hartlepool, so I wasn't surprised to see him not involved today. Gunter did look great in the back on the sort of left of the three. I do think the three is where he'll end up this season because I do think that's by far his best position in this shape. So I do hope, we talked about it a bit in the pre-match show, obviously, but I do think we need a right wing-back to come in to allow Gunter to make that transition. And he can still play the odd game of wing-back to rotate in and out if we need to, but his best position has to be on the right of that three because he's so good there.
I think what I noticed today, and it's no reflection on Ogundir.
I struggle with his name.
Isaac.
I felt, Isaac, we call him Isaac. I thought he'd done well. He'd done well. But I think what we noticed with that is actually 2 bombing on wing backs would mean that, because in the end Jack Curry was literally a little devil marketing one age. We didn't have that switch where we wanted it to, and that's no reflection on how he played. But I think the wing backs, how we're going to play, it's going to be really important to stretch the pitch. Let's be fair, when we stretch the pitch, that's when we've got a Sally who got in and passed to Jack Curry, who God knows how many miles he put in or kilometres what they're going to measure in and that sort of side of it. So I can see Anthony Pez, I can see your comments on here. I don't think we're going to sign a number 9 of what you want, but I think we've got to retain money. We've got to realise Davison probably our highest earner, highest signing. I'm not too panicky just yet, if I'm being truthful with that from what I saw. So we move on thick and fast. Doncaster Saturday. We weren't going through the scores around the doors, but actually we're out now, so we don't really care. Doncaster. It's going to be. Do you know what? And this is not me being a little bit above my station, but it felt you want some more fans in, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Like you weren't here, you were sunning yourself, but it was a great atmosphere here for the Gillingham game. I can't wait for Saturday now.
You know what? Second half was a good atmosphere, considering
that's because we couldn't get our ball back.
You know what I was saying? Because I was sitting with my friend Mike today, and he was saying how empty the stadium is. But I actually said, if you took all the people today and put them in Kingsmeadow, it would have felt like a sellout.
That's what I'm saying. They get above your station.
But I am really looking forward to Saturday. I think that's it. I like the League Cup. I come today because it's a competitive fixture and whatnot. But you just can't beat 3 points for me on a Saturday, 3:00 kickoff. And for me, my focus. I think every Wimbledon fan, they want two things: an FA Cup run, ideally, and a run in the league playoff, especially in League 2 or top half finish.
How did Doncaster do today, Joe?
They lost 3-0 to Lincoln.
That's even better then. So technically, we should win 1-0 on. If you're going to put a bet in now.
Only that was that simple.
That's it really. We're out of the cup. I don't feel too disappointed. For some strange reason.
Another reason I don't feel too disappointed is because I felt really impressed with what I saw for 89 minutes. There was only one team in it. It's not like we played bad today, and I feel like if we were clinging on and we looked terrible, but we had the majority of the chances, majority of possession. A different day, we could have won this 2-0, and had the same result as we did opening day. But look, out the cup, let's focus on the league, let's focus on the FA Cup, and let's focus on giving some of the youngsters a run out in the Papa John's Trophy,
And do you know what Johnny Jackson on his first League Cup game was doing a Terry Brown? Do you notice the old sort of like
the beige chinos?
Yeah, Johnny Jackson. Let's be fair, an absolute fashion magnet. Like George, how are you going to compete? I'm really thinking now.
We'll get him in the trackie soon, don't worry.
You can just imagine. Do you know what? It's a common laugh we have because he's such a stylish manager, isn't it? That side. How long is it going to take for him to put a hoodie on or a Wimbledon hoodie on when it's when it gets cold? It ain't. Saturday is reportedly going to be one of the hottest. Well, actually,
it's going to be mid-30s again Saturdays.
So if you are coming to so say Kings Meadow, if you are coming to Plough Lane, make sure you bring your fluids.
If you're going to Kings Meadow, turn around because you're going the wrong place. You've got to go up the A3 a bit more.
Just make sure you get your fluids in. It's warm. Have an ice cream. I know you.
I had a pie when it was hot and had an ice cream when it cooled down. I've done it the wrong way around tonight, but I almost had a 3-course meal. So
I had a chicken balti pie, which is a little bit hot. But I missed my naked chips. Is it naked chips?
Yeah.
Where are you, naked chips? And of course we have a lovely dough stack, ding ding, and
everything else. Vegan Express for Spike.
Do you know what? It's such an and you know what? If you get down here early on Saturday, the fan zone is a really lovely experience. But I did miss my chips.
Especially the pub as well, the Phoenix. They've really improved that this season. You know, I went down there for the first time, and I did go to the Meet the Manager event as well. And I've been really impressed with the additions and whatnot they've added this season. So
by the ones they have done an incredible job there over the summer. I know it got a bit of stick when it first opened with the way it looked and the way it felt, but they've done an incredible job there. It really is a nice place to be.
And they helped us out of a little bit of a hole today with a power.
And they got us out of an electronic jam today.
Thank you very much to the Broadway Holders and the Phoenix.
I was going to say also the tub shop. That is, you know, every time I haven't bought anything today, and I plan on buying some bits on Saturday. But every time I go in there, it just impresses me more and more.
And you know what? If you're going to be in a club shop, there is some new gear that's been, and some names that are quite interesting. As I've been told, I'll leave that as much as I feel like there's some new gear that might have some similar names of the people on the 9 years team. I'll leave it at that. Well, on an evening that Wimbledon go out of the Carabao Cup in the first round, Doncaster Saturday, and we will be back pre-match on Saturday. We will see you soon.